I'm back, or bike, as they say here in South Florida. Again, the spirit has led me to, come in and, drop something on you guys, and here I am. So, the last 2, 3 years have been a journey for me personally in more ways than one. Like, I mean that spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all those things. Um, you know, it's been a good thing in certain aspects. It's been bad in certain aspects, but I guess that's life in general. Um, but this morning, I kind of had a bit of a revelation, and I just wanted to share that with you guys, or the spirit led me to share it with you guys, because I normally just keep things to myself. Um, I got up this morning around 6 a.m. like I normally do. I got my kids off to school, my wife and all that stuff, and I, got ready to, setting up my, computer, my phone and stuff to get ready to, do some work, and was about to start working out first, but then, I got that voice, got that whisper from within that said, "Hey, sit down, talk to me for a second. I want to lay something on you." And I did. I sat right back there on that couch and, you know, turned the TV down, turned my phone off, and just sat back and listened. And what the spirit shared with me was incredible. It said, "Hey, listen, you're entering into a new cycle. The old cycle is dead. It's, time to move on. The old you is dead. It's time to move on. But before I do that, I want to reveal something to you. I want to reveal, the force that you've been wrestling with this entire time. But first, I want you to go pick up a good book, and I want you to read the story of Jacob. Now, I said in my last video that I'm not particularly religious at all. I do, however, have a thing for the Abrahamic religions collectively. Um, Christianity, Islam, is as well as Judaism. All of those things are one and the same. I know some of y'all might hear that and immediately turn the video off or say, "Man, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about." All you have to do is open up the books. They all tell the same exact story. You know, Maybe, one religion puts more emphasis on certain characters than the other, but they all share the same story. In my house, I have a Quran, I have a Bible, I have a Kabbalah. That's it doesn't make a difference. It's all the same. Well, I got to kind of question that message initially for a split second because I'm like, well, I know that story. It's a children's story. Like we all have read Genesis and Esau and Jacob and all of this stuff. We know the story. And he's like, "Nah, go ahead and read it again." So I got to reading it, and then I put a little quick video on YouTube to kind of get another level understanding. And then I kind of read through it again, but this time the spirit was leading me to a particular point in the story, that is. And the part of the story where it kind of, freezes me to it says, make sure you get all of this information. It's this part here. You see, Jacob was a trickster. His whole life and being is just the nature of who he was just finessing people. You know, he finessed his own brother out of his, inheritance. And, he had other scenarios and situations where that's just what he would do. He was just a sly guy. And one of the people that he, had finessed or, that actually had finessed him back, that was the nature of their relationship. They would just trick each other for many years, was his father in law. His father-in-law would trick him with certain things, and then he'd trick his father-in-law, and they just would do that back and forth. To it got to a point where Jacob, I'll spare you to, going into details, but Jacob had basically finessed his father-in-law out of, a bunch of sheep, and had done this over the period of time where the father-in-law didn't notice that he had done that. There was an issue that ensued out of that situation. And what Jacob did was, hey, well, you know what? I'm gonna just get my stuff. I'm gonna get my wives. I'm gonna get my, sheep. I'm gonna get my kids, and we're just gonna leave. We're gonna go somewhere else. And again, I'll spare you on where they were going or what, because that's not the here nor there. It's not pertinent to, what I'm about to say. Long story short, at some point, the father-in-law caught up with Jacob and his family, and basically confrontation ensued out of that. You got to accusing each other of certain things and arguing and stuff like that, and somehow out of that argument, someone kind of lays on Jacob, hey man, your brother is looking for you. He's out there. He's coming for you. His brother Esau. And if you're familiar with the story, Esau is one of the, people that, Jacob had tricked. He tricked his brother into giving him his inheritance for some food one day when they were younger. And it seems to me in the story that Jacob may have, had some level of guilt about this. Well, he sends messengers out, Jacob that is, to go and speak to Esau to, kind of gauge, I guess, as to what his plans were. And the messengers, I'm not clear on if they actually spoke to Esau or not, but they saw, his brother, and they saw, who he was with, and they came back immediately to Jacob and they said, man, you need to be prepared because he's got about 400 people with him, and they look like they're coming to do something to you. So Jacob rather, starts panicking. He starts to panic, and he's got all these thoughts rushing through his head, and he's coming up with all these convoluted plans. Basically, you guys go this way, and you guys go that way, and I'll do this, and all of this stuff to ensure that we're protected. Don't worry, I got this. And long story short, he winds up, by himself, at night, and he's just waiting. He's waiting on his brother and, his brother's, I guess, soldiers or friends or whatever to come and, maybe kill him. And I guess in Jacob's mind, he's thinking, either they're going to kill me or I'm going to figure out some type of way to talk myself out of this. Well, in the midst of him waiting at night, some entity appears, some human or person or whatever, whoever it is, and the Bible doesn't really make it clear, and Jacob doesn't really make it clear, and they get to fighting one another. They get to wrestling and fighting, and Jacob's putting up a good fight, to the point where this entity pulls some type of move where he dislocates Jacob's hip. And Jacob continues to fight hard. And they start fighting until the sun comes up. And as the sun's coming up, they get to talking to each other. And anybody who grew up in the streets or in the hood or grew up around people that fight, when you get to that stalemate, you got one like, man, let me go. You got the other one like, no, you let me go first. And it seems like that's the where they had gotten to. And this force that Jacob is fighting with asks him his name. And Jacob tells him, my name is Jacob. And, the force tells him, no, your name is now Israel. And for the sake of this story, I don't think that that's necessarily pertinent, but I'm just giving you some insight as to what they're conversating about as they're fighting. And what this being tells him is man, your name's Israel now. It's not Jacob anymore, and I'm naming you that because by the end of this fight, you will have wrestled with both men and God and, walked away from it. So then, Jacob's thinking like, man, what are you talking about? What is this? And right now, at this point in the story, I'm going to paraphrase and speak my own way. I'm not going to go, with the story. Basically, what this entity tells Jacob is, well, hey, listen, man, you've been tricking people and lying and deceiving and doing all of this weird stuff this whole time, all these years, and look at what you've accomplished. You built a decent amount of wealth. You have a large family. They're going to be blessed, and they're going to go on and create many children of their own and be royal and be blessed and all of these things. And he's like, you've done that by tricking people and lying and deceiving and all these things. And I kind of just let it go, you know, because it's just your nature, it's just who you are. But I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do any of those things, and you never did. You never had to trick people or lie, none of those things. You always had what you were going to get or what you have now from the time you've been born. The spirit has laid it out for you, man. You were going to get that regardless. You didn't have to do all of this crazy, weird stuff that you've been doing. And Jacob, seems to be perplexed by this, and what the spirit, tells him is that what I'm gonna do for you, man, is I'm gonna tell you that here's another blessing. And basically what I'm asking of you is just leave all that deceitful stuff back in the past and let it go. And just take your blessing as it stands, as it is, as I'm giving it to you, for the future, and let that be that without all the negativity. And after talking to my brother Brandon, this morning about it, us, kind of my spiritual advisor, uh, he told me, he said, man, bro, that is a powerful revelation because we spoke about some other things too. And he said, Ty, there's some debate about that story right there you're telling me. Some people think that that's an angel that Jacob was wrestling with. Some people think that that was God. Some people think that that was, God or an angel that came down and, possessed a human and, wrestling. And I said, I cut him off. I said, man, let me tell you, man, what the spirit told me was that Jacob was fighting with himself. You hear me on that? He was fighting with himself. What the spirit was telling that man was, bro, you didn't have to do any of those things. You were gonna be blessed either way. But unbeknownst to you, you're such a good warrior and you're so crafty and you have such fight in you that I respect you. I respect those things that you've done. You went the hard way when you didn't have to go that route. It would have come to you anyway, but you took the hard way and you did it. You accomplished it. And you sat here and fought me. You see, there's another aspect at play here. You see, the spirit or the universe, however you want to look at it, is a reflection of us. And we are a reflection of it. There is a constant cycle of that. Remember, the spirit wants to live through us and vice versa. So one could say that he was fighting God, but he was fighting himself and vice versa. There's a mirror effect at play here. And again, to, drop on you what the spirit was dropping on me is that, man, you didn't have to do any of those things. You didn't have to engage in any of those things, and you would have gotten blessed either way, brother. But you did go that route, and you did, you know, have some struggle. You did carry some weight with you out of those scenarios where you were tricking people and deceiving and lying and setting up all these convoluted plans and stuff like that, and you made it through. And you're a good fighter physically. You're blessed, brother. All I'm asking from you is just to stop all of that. Understand that you're a good warrior. Understand that you have a great mind, and understand that I'm here with you and I'll bless you without you doing all of those things. And that was very powerful for me. and it was a revelation for me because that's very relevant to my personal story. Some of the things that I involved myself with in the past and some of the things that I've done, it didn't even need to be done. I would have found success or gotten money or gotten love or whatever it was that I was looking for by doing all of these things anyway. God, like, man, I love you, bro. I would have given it to you anyway. And this part's neither here nor there, but I just want to finish the story on this. What wound up happening was after that fight and after that conversation, his brother Esau did show up with 400 guys. And you know what he did? He hugged them and showed them love. Esau, that is, showed love to Jacob. Like, man, I ain't worrying about none of that stuff. That stuff is in the past. Like, only reason I was looking for you and why I came to find you with all these guys is because I heard of your story and I heard of your situation and I heard that you was trying to get somewhere. And I just came to protect y'all, to protect you and your family, from any harm or anything like that. That's all. Jacob was wrestling with his own demons, with his own self. He had planted so much negativity, so many negative seeds that he drove himself crazy. He was wrestling with his own thoughts and his own projections, and that wasn't things. Those things weren't even true. It was all in his head. So, that was a very powerful revelation for me. I just thought that I should share that with you all and, learn from that, man. Watch the seeds that you plant, man, and make sure that you're not getting in your own way. A lot of times all we got to do is just walk in the spirit and walk in faith and take action. You got to take action too. But you don't have to have all these wild thoughts or all these wild plans, ideas, or be scheming and scamming and all of that. You don't have to do none of that. Just take positive action, stay focused, and keep your mind on God and make sure what it is that you're doing is through the spirit because if it's not going to work you know. But that's it, man. That's all I got for y'all, man. Stay blessed. I'll upload another video when the spirit leads me to, and kind of share some insight as to how my brain works and where the spirit is leading me. And y'all be blessed. Have a great day. Thanks.